Hello, welcome to this video. My name's Monique Gamey. I'm an illustrator based in the Boston area, and I love the fiber arts. I love knitting. So yeah, this is a pretty standard knitting episode. This is episode number 4 for me. Very exciting. I'm gonna treat it like a standard episode with, starting with what I'm wearing, finished objects, work in progress. What else do I have? I have my notes here. Acquisitions, media, and thrift scores. I like adding that one in. It's very fun. I hope you are cozy with a nice beverage. Maybe you're knitting or doing some sort of crafting. Let me know what you're working on while you watch this. I'd love to know. I'm gonna get right into it. I'm feeling rusty. Also, today is super snowy here in Boston. We got 5 inches. I think that's a lot for us. It's been a cold winter, but we haven't had a ton of snow just yet. So I had to dig out my car to get here, and this is my art studio. I don't live here, but I do have a couch that I nap on. Very important for the workspace. Anyways, it's very snowy and perfect to talk about all things wool. So yeah, what am I wearing? This is my weekend hat by Petite Knit. I wear this almost every single day, and I've also knit this hat for myself 3 times. I've also knit it for other people. I think it's the best hat design. I kind of like when there's like a little bit of a point, but not too pointy. I think it's great. And then the gray is just so easy to wear, but I also have it in blue and then a really obnoxious orange. So yeah, that's this hat. And then I'm wearing my Lonely Leftovers vest, and that is I have my laptop in front of me here, so I can check Ravelry. This is by Wool & Beyond, and unfortunately for both of these patterns, both of my knits, I did them before I used Ravelry religiously, so I don't remember what yarn I used or my gauge or anything. I'm so sorry. I think I probably still have it in a notebook somewhere that I can dig up, but I don't have that information right this second. But yeah, I really like wearing this vest. I don't wear it a ton, but it is like a nice layer to just throw on in the winter, and I think it's pretty cute and fun. And this was my outfit for digging out my car with my bean boots, because I'm in the Boston area, and that's part of the uniform we're all assigned. Let's move along. Okay, finished objects. So I've got a few. Let's start. Okay, this is the Marielle blouse by Maria Shai Mogenstad. And I did already talk about this on my channel here in my Everything I Knit in 2025 video, but I haven't talked about it yet on an official podcast episode. So let's just quickly get into it. So I knit this on 4mm needles, which I think is the suggested size. So I used 2 yarns. I used Lexington Woolies 4-ply, which is like a fingering weight, held with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in powder. And the powder kind of gives it this like very slight pink peachy tone. And then the Lexington Woolies 4-ply was just kind of like a basic white, like undyed natural yarn. And I think it gives this like a really nice off-white color. I didn't want a pure white situation. This is very warm. So what is so nice about this pattern is this sort of like pointelle lace work that's been like so trendy this past year, but I also think it's just like classic. It's been around a long time. The lace work is just created with yarn overs and like knit 2 together situations. So it's actually more approachable than I thought. I was worried that this was going to be like a really difficult pattern, but you get used to it. You memorize the order. You memorize this pattern basically is what I'm trying to say. So it is doable. And then besides that, it's a pretty straightforward drop shoulder design. So I would say like advanced beginner could totally do this if it was like, if you really wanted to do it, I think you could. And I'm happy with this mohair situation because I don't think I'm going to get much pilling because of holding the mohair with the fingering weight yarn. I've worn it a few times. It is very warm. Honestly, today, well, actually, no. I feel like I get so hot on snow days because I'm like shoveling and I'm like moving around. So I actually probably would not wear this today. But on like those bitterly cold days, this would be great. Because of the mohair, I would wear this with some sort of layer underneath, just so it's not itchy. I've been meaning to get the Uniqlo Heat Tech layers. I really want to try them out. But honestly, even this is like an athletic material, athletic shirt. Even that would be fine under this. But yeah, it's super warm. Oh yeah, so for this project, I did something silly where my swatch, I think I knit the swatch in the wrong needle size, so it was too small. And then when I cast this on, I was like, wait, my swatch, my like gauge is clearly bigger than my swatch, and it's not even blocked, where I did block my swatch. So yeah, I think I did this actually with the recommended needles, with the recommended size, and it turned out great. There is no decreases on these sleeves, so they end up kind of looking like bell sleeves. They're just straight. There's just no decreases, which makes sense because if you had decreases, you'd have to think about how to incorporate them with this like pointelle pattern, and that would be quite difficult, I imagine, to make it look nice. And I'm not really a big sleeve girly, but I don't mind in this pattern. I think it looks fun. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out. This yarn was very special, the Lexington Woolies, because I picked that up in Australia, and it was expensive. It's like wool from Tasmania, and I think it's like a smaller producer maybe. So it was expensive, but it was like a special yarn from a really fun trip, and I wanted to make something nice with it. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this. I'm really happy with it. I highly recommend the pattern. I think it's beautiful. It's also really nice in bright colors too. I've been seeing other people make this, and it just looks great. Okay, the next finished object I have is my Oslo hat by Petite Knit. And it looks small, but I think I just have a small head. So it fits, but it does look kind of small. The recommended gauge is basically light fingering plus lace equals DK. So DK gauge, knit with 3mm needles. I did 3.5mm needles, and so I held together, the brown yarn is a sport weight, and then the blue is lace. Both are from Jagger spun yarns, which unfortunately no longer exists. They were yarns I picked up at Martin's up in Maine, which is like a surplus store. So you get a lot of good deals, but it also means you probably won't find that yarn ever again because, you know, it went out of business or whatever. Yeah, let me try this on for you. So like it is a little bit tight. I did aggressively block this. I probably should have gone up even one more needle size, but I don't know, because it was just a hat, I didn't really care that much, and I didn't do a swatch. I just sort of went for it, and hoped for the best. So this is where we landed. I think it's fun. I love the marling. Blue and brown, that combo has been my favorite this past year, and I'm not tired of it yet, so probably gonna keep going with that. It looks small. Like this hat, well, no, maybe I just have a small head. Yeah, I guess these actually are quite similar. There's maybe like an inch more on this one, but this one with the ribbing, it's just very loose. So yeah, I guess that's the difference. This is ribbed, so it's got that stretch. This is stockinette, so it has less give, which makes sense. I don't think I have anything else to say. I would totally knit another Oslo hat. I like the look of it. This is very woolly, so I think because I have bangs and like a whole head of hair, it doesn't bother me, but if my skin touched this, I would probably find it irritating, which is good to know because I have a whole cone of this brown yarn. So I'll have to be mindful about what I make with it in the future. Okay, I decided to do some scrap busting projects, and I ended up knitting. I have hair everywhere. Oh my God, it's a problem. I ended up knitting 2 mohair scrunchies, and these were so much fun. So yeah, I've got this one, and then I've got this crazy looking one. The inspiration for these, well, I've seen people knit mohair scrunchies, and I've always thought they were really cool. And then I also have seen some on Damson Matter, that clothing brand. I've never bought from them, but I do like the vibe and the style. They're not usually in my price range. Or actually, I don't really do a lot of online shopping, if I'm honest. So I've resisted buying anything from them. But they did have some really cool knit scrunchies that I was like, cool. I don't need to buy that because I can make it. So I did this one first, and I will say I preferred creating this one than this one, and I'll tell you why. So this one is knit in the round. The elastic feels good in this. Yeah, it's knit in the round, and then you put the scrunchie in, and then you just sort of close it and bind off all at once. I just followed a reel I saw on Instagram to do this, and yeah, it was easy. Needles, I think this was 5mm needles. I think I did 5mm. I think I did 5mm size needles. Anyways, because this was knit in the round, it was very fast to do. The tube was like, I don't know, 5 inches long, 6, maybe 6. But yeah, that was not that hard. Okay, then this one. So then I was like, well, I kind of want one where the stripes go the other way, like this one. And I think I also maybe just looked up tutorials on Instagram for this. Oh, actually, no, this was Material Girls on YouTube. I found a video. So this is knit flat, and you make like a long rectangle of stripes, knit flat. So that already is like not as fun as knitting in the round. But, you know, I just trusted the process. Oh, yeah. Also, so the white and orange are mohair, and then the maroon is actually a fingering weight, like sock yarn. All of these were scraps. This was like a great scrap busting project. So, yeah, I just knit a long tube. They probably said how many stitches the width should be. I just did what felt right. And I think it was too wide because this is like, there's just like a little bit too much fabric here. Like what is happening? This does not look like a scrunchie really. I haven't worn either of these yet because I wanted them to still look nice when I made this video, but I am excited to start wearing them. So yeah, this one was a little crazy. So yeah, then you do the long rectangle, you put the elastic in, and then you have to like seam 2 ends. You have to seam the short end and then the long end. I'm not doing a good job explaining this, but I can link the video. Anyways, this one's extra crazy, but you know what? I got rid of some scraps. I'll see if I wear it. If not, whatever. I had a perfectly fine time making it. So yeah, those are my 2 very fluffy scrunchies. I am absolutely going to make more of this style. So that's great news. Okay, next. So for Christmas, I got a Kobo. I am gonna briefly talk about sewing as well in this video. So I got a Kobo, and I decided I needed a pouch for it. A Kobo is an e-reader, like a Kindle. I've discovered not everyone's familiar with what a Kobo is, so just wanted to put it out there. Yeah, so I decided to sew up a pouch. I followed a pattern and YouTube tutorial by Rosie Caldwell. She has a pattern that's like, it's one pattern and you get 7 different quilted pouch sizes. And then she has a YouTube tutorial that goes along with the pattern to explain how to make this. And it was like very clear, very, very easy to follow. So yeah, that is also my previous YouTube video is a deep dive into this project if you're interested in watching that. Oh look, another hair. Great. You will see in that, well, spoiler for that video, this pouch was too small for my Kobo, just slightly, ever so slightly. So I actually made another one. I'll insert clips here as well. I left my Kobo in the pouch in my car. I made the other pouch. It fits my Kobo nicely. I will say it's maybe slightly big. I can't win. But I'm glad I made it, and it was a nice project to ease back into sewing for the new year. So yeah, made some nice pouches, and that's everything I made since my last podcast. Okay, next I'm going to talk about my current whips, which I only have one, which is crazy. And also if the lighting or camera angle changed at all, it's because my microphone died, so I had to reshoot some clips, including this one. So anyways, my current whip is the Lakes V-neck pullover by Ozetta. This is my second Ozetta pattern. The first one was my first ever sweater, and I knit the Port sweater. I still wear it all the time. I think it is my favorite sweater. It's definitely my most wearable. So it's about time I make another Ozetta pattern. Yeah, so I'm doing the V-neck pullover. It is a saddle shoulder construction, and this is my first time doing a saddle shoulder construction. So what that means is basically you do these like two rectangular panels for the shoulders. You knit those first, and then you connect to knit the back, and then you connect to knit the front. In my case, for the V-neck, you knit the V-neck, and then continue on to connect under the arms. So it's like, it's not too far off from, you know, your classic drop shoulder, but I really love the look of the saddle shoulders. It's been great to knit so far. I have had some hiccups. Well, first let me just say, I'm knitting this with Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the color Pomegranate, which I picked up during Knitting for Olive's fundraiser. And I don't have my whip in front of me right now. I'm sure I'll insert some B-roll. I left it at home because that's where I was working on it and I forgot to bring it in. But yeah, so let's see. I knit my swatch at the recommended gauge, 5.5 millimeter needles with worsted weight yarn, which like that's big. Wait, is it worsted? Yes, worsted weight yarn. That was too loose of a gauge for me. I didn't like how the fabric felt. I wanted something denser. I went down to 4.5 millimeter needles. The problem is I should have sized up and I didn't. I don't know why. I've done this before. So I still knit a size medium for me with 4.5 millimeter needles, and I got pretty far. I got to where I was like connecting. I did connect the V-neck, and then it felt, I mean, granted it was pre-blocked, but it just felt too small, and I really want this to be oversized. I want a decent sized V-neck. I specifically want to style it with like a white t-shirt underneath, and like I want to see that. I don't want just like a teeny tiny V-neck. So yeah, it was not feeling right. So I was like, you know what? I enjoy knitting. It would not be a big deal for me to reknit this. So I ended up casting on a larger size. So now I'm knitting the size large with the 4.5 millimeter needles, and it feels so much better. I've now gotten to the point where I've connected under the arms, so I'm, you know, cruising along on the body, and I did pause on the body to knit the collar, which is a folded collar, and that's feeling really nice. I wasn't sure if I was going to do folded or not. A lot of people on Ravelry did not do the folded neckline, which looks great as well. People that did do the folded neckline, some of them I thought were maybe, it just like looked too big or like too thick. So I was kind of worried about that. But I think because I was using pretty small needles, so for the neckline, you size down a full needle size from your body needle size, which for me would have been 3.5. So it was like pretty small with worsted weight yarn. And yeah, I don't think it was too thick. I like that it's quite dense, like thick as in like fluffy almost, like coming off the body. But I like that it's a dense fabric. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it's coming along. I think the color will look good on me, and I think it will be another very wearable sweater. I think this year I need to make a point to just make more wearable sweaters. So anyways, really enjoying the process, and I think I'm gonna really enjoy the final product. Okay, next I am going to talk about acquisitions. So I actually got this one quite a few months ago, like well before the holidays, but I don't think I ever talked about it. So I'm gonna talk about it. Oh my God, another hair. I got a hot water bottle because I don't know, I think I've just been influenced by the knitting community that I should get a hot water bottle and then knit a cover for it and be cozy. That's all I thought about. I got it before the holidays because I was like, I don't know, I got real focused, I guess. And I thought I would maybe make a cover and then I could gift this to someone. That did not happen. Not even close. Haven't done anything. Part of the problem is I realized the size I got is kind of an off size. It's like not the smallest size and not the normal large size. So I was having a hard time finding patterns for this size. Now, surely I can figure out how to do it myself. But from my research, I did find a free pattern on Ravelry that was basically like, I think it's called like the only hot water bottle pattern you'll ever need, or it's called something like that. You basically, measure your gauge, measure the hot water bottle, and then it like calculates the pattern for you. Something like that. So I found that, and then I was like, okay, I can figure it out from there. But it was just like a bit extra work that I didn't have the time for at the time. So I'm letting you all know I have this, and I would like to knit a cover for it by the end of the year. Seems like a reasonable project. So the only other thing I need to figure out is what pattern do I want to do? Like, do I want a fun texture? Do I want to do color work? I'm thinking color work because it's nice and small and would be knit in the round. Those are my thoughts. And yeah, I am now the owner of a hot water bottle. Very exciting. Oh yeah, another thing I got, let me go grab it. For my sewing machine, I got an even feed presser foot, and I had to get this to do the quilt pouches. I'm pretty sure I need it for some other projects, so I was like, okay, it's time to finally buy this thing. It basically has like feet on the top. So on your sewing machine, you have feet on the bottom to move the fabric, but then this has feet on the top as well to make it more even, I guess. I don't really know. Glad I got it. I guess I can quilt things now. So that's cool. Yes. Okay. And I think that was about $20. This past weekend, I went back to my favorite place, which is Martin's. If you've watched my previous videos, you would know that. Again, I already mentioned it in this video. It's like a surplus store only in Maine. And they've got crazy stuff. Like, I buy toothpaste there because it's really cheap. But then I also go there for craft supplies. Crazy place. So yeah, I went this weekend and I picked up a few things. Oh yeah, I didn't bring everything in, but it's not that exciting. I got some quilt batting. I got two types. I got like a polyester, like really thick one, and then I just got cotton batting for like a queen size quilt. They're both super cheap, so I just figured I'd pick them up. The other things I got that are more exciting are some yarn. So I picked up a ball of this mohair in the color Cornfield. This is Elaray alpaca mohair. 34% kid mohair, 34% superfine alpaca, 32% nylon. And I think, like, you can see it's darker on the inside. I think it's a gradient. So that caught my eye. So I picked up one ball of that, and then one ball of this. Look at this packaging. Beautiful. This is Jedifra Julia. Oh, maybe I should have picked up a different ball to tell me more information. I think this is alpaca. Anyways, it's super fluffy. This was $6.99. This was $5. And basically, I just wanted to pick up more fun, like more colorful, fluffy mohair situations to make more scrunchies. That's all. Because I actually don't have that much mohair in my stash, and the mohair I do have is mostly not bright colors. This orange was the most fun I had, and that is done. Like, I only had enough to do this little bit. So, yeah, I just figured I'd pick up some more brightly colored mohairs and alpaca yarn to allow myself to be playful when I want to be playful. That's all. No grand ideas for this besides scrunchies. I'm on a scrunchie kick. Okay, so that was my Martin's haul. Oh yeah, and then another thing I want to talk about, this isn't explicitly knitting or sewing related. However, I think you'll still like it. Stay with me here. I got this journal. Actually, I already had this journal, like the leather part. So this is a Paper Republic XL journal. I forget what this is called. This has been on my radar because of Instagram, and I think specifically because of another knitting YouTuber slash Instagram, I don't know, just another creative person, Hanan Bonet. I love her channel and her colors. It's beautiful. And she's been like wanting one of these so bad, and I was like, okay. I think it's one of those things where you keep seeing it and then you want it. It's so bad. Anyways, I realized I already had this journal. I was gifted it a few years ago from my illustration work. And so, yeah, I just needed to get the inserts. And then, I don't know, I've just been getting excited. I think with the new year, all the journal channels are seeing everyone journal, and I feel like I'm missing out. And I want to try to do it. And I think now that I understand how this journal works, where like you can keep inserting it, you can have multiple journals within this book, like that's very cool to me. I'm starting to understand it, and it's making me excited. So yesterday, actually, I stopped by Top Drawer, which is a just well-designed goods. They have a lot of journals and like pens and stuff, home goods. I mean, it's a small store, but just well-designed goods, basically. So they had Paper Republic, so I was able to go in and see what all the journals felt like. So yeah, I'm an illustrator. That's my full-time job. So I picked up their drawing notebook, and the drawing paper is really nice. And specifically, I like that it like can lay perfectly flat. I don't really like when sketchbooks and notepads don't lay flat. So the binding on this is really beautiful. It was $30 or $35, I think. Also, it has like sprayed edges that are an ochre color, and that's really beautiful to me. And then I also picked up just the smaller notebook with the dot grid to use. I tend to use small notebooks to take notes when I have client calls. So I have this. I haven't written anything in this yet. I want to get one more journal, and this is where this channel comes in. Thank you for staying with me. I want to get a journal that I can write down my making notes. Because like even for this podcast, this is just a notebook I keep at my desk to write notes. And I just, for this podcast, I wrote down my notes, but it would be nice. So this feels chaotic to me, and every single page is a completely different train of thought. It just feels chaotic, whereas I like the idea of having multiple notebooks in here that have specific purposes. So I want to get a notebook, a dedicated making notebook to put in here that I can write down these notes. as well as still use my Ravelry. I think Ravelry is a really important resource, so I'm definitely going to keep doing that. But I like, it's kind of nice to write things down, and it's like a journal of when I made stuff that I can keep adding to. Whereas this, I can tell you for sure, this is just going to end up, I'm probably going to throw this away at some point. I don't really keep notes. I'm not precious about my note keeping, but I'm interested in being precious about my note keeping. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. This is a new thing for me. And then I did go ahead and put a little charm on the band because I see everyone doing that as well. This is a charm I just sort of had. It actually belongs to my mom, so very cute. I think I stole it from her jewelry box. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're a knitter, crafter person, there's overlaps. Like, you probably are also into reading and maybe also into journals. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I'm excited to maybe start journaling. So that's that. Okay, those are all my acquisitions. Whew, that was a lot. Okay, next we're going to talk about media. I guess I call it media, but really I just want to talk about books. I mostly watch YouTube, so I don't have too much to report on besides I finished Stranger Things. Anyways, let's talk about books. So I started the year reading The Year of Less, and I think I just found this from searching on Libby to see what books were like immediately available, and this was one of them. And it was a really good book to start the year with. I'm not even like intending to have like a low buy year or something, but it was just nice to read this book and be like, oh yeah, I actually like, do I need all these things? Do I need stuff? Saying that as I continue to buy stuff. I'm okay with buying stuff for hobbies. Anyways, this book was also powerful because it was not very much like here's how you do this. Here are the steps to have a clutter-free life or whatever. It is a memoir. So it's written by Kate Flanders, and it says it's a memoir about her year-long challenge to stop shopping, except for necessities, and declutter her life, leading to a more mindful and fulfilling existence. But she also, throughout the book, was working on being sober, talking about that journey, and just like being completely open about her finances. And, she had made bad choices earlier in life, but how she was overcoming that. And I don't know, I find that inspiring, and it made me think a little bit. I was just a little bit more reflective about how I can maybe spend less or just like declutter more, have less stuff, be content with what I have, which I think I do an okay job with. I'm not a big online shopper, so I don't have that issue. It was nice to read and nice to reflect on. I would totally read it again too. It was a pretty fast, easy read. Oh, and then I read The Berry Pickers. Oh my God. I was not ready for The Berry Pickers. Oh. So this caught my eye actually, I think when I was in Acadia up in Maine. I saw this book and I almost picked it up, and then I resisted. But because of my Kobo, I've been trying to get a bunch of books through my library with Libby. I think this one was available right away. So I was like, okay, now's my time. So The Berry Pickers is by Amanda Peters. It's about a Micmac. Ooh, I do not know how to pronounce this an indigenous name. Oh, Micmac. Okay. It's a novel about a Micmac family's tragedy when their 4-year-old daughter, Ruthie, disappears from a blueberry field in Maine in 1962, told through the perspectives of her brother Joe and a white girl, Norma, who grows up with a secret about her own past. So it was so good. This book made me cry. I was not prepared. It made me cry so much. Basically, the main character, Ruthie, is stolen from an indigenous family and brought up to be white. And it takes place in Maine. Yeah, that's kind of the premise. I don't want to give anything away. But just like the family drama, family trauma dynamics, it was a lot. And it was a beautiful story, but it really made me cry. But yeah, I highly recommend. Okay, let's talk about thrift scores. I had some good ones since we last talked. I'm just gonna talk about two. So I have this book called Making Afghans. I picked this up at Savers, and basically it is knitting and crochet patterns inspired by quilts. So essentially this is the vibe of this book. This is a pattern by Laura Penrose. It's her like quilt cushion. She has a pillow, and then she also has like a full blanket in this style. That's basically what this book is, and it has, I'm not going to pay attention so much to the crochet patterns because I'm not much of a crocheter, but there's like knitting patterns and charts on how to make quilts inspired knitted blankets. So I don't know if I'm necessarily interested in making a knit blanket, but I feel like I could use this book to draw inspiration for sweaters or other garments. I love knitting sweaters. I never get tired of that. But yeah, I just thought like there's a lot of, my receipt. Yeah, there's a lot of inspiring images and resources in this book. I'm also curious to actually go through and read a pattern and see if I understand what they're saying, or if they have like techniques that I haven't done before. Curious when this, oh yeah, copyright 1985 by Genie Books. So yeah, I'm excited at some point to dive into this. Ooh, okay, my other thrift score that I'm so excited about. I got the most perfect wool coat. It's a nice, dark, rich, chocolatey brown. I love the collar. I've been wanting either a wool coat or like a trench coat that has like buttons all the way down, and then I don't think it's not a Peter Pan collar, but like a collar that goes all the way up, not like the lapels that are open. I know Cezanne has a trench coat I've been eyeing for years that is in that style, but it's just like not in my budget. So anyways, this was $33. I could not believe it. And it is wool and mohair. I will be wearing that a lot. I already have worn it a lot, and I'm really excited. Okay, I think that's everything I have. So thank you for watching this video. Again, let me know what you've been working on. Also, please tell me if you journal and what you journal, if you don't mind sharing. I'm just curious. I really want to dive into this world. It would mean so much to me if you would consider liking, commenting, subscribing. It really helps my channel. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.